Hello, my name's Kate Lutero, and welcome to my short little study on gender and SAT scores. According to a study done in 1988 by 3 members of Princeton's Educational Testing Services, women averaged a 446.5 overall in their SAT scores, while men averaged a 479 overall. This meant that men led women in SAT scores by a 32.5 point difference. For this project, I'll be examining a similar data set to the one used in the 1988 study in order to determine whether or not there's a correlation between gender and SAT scores today. Alright, let's define terms. For this project, I had to use an abstraction, which is a real-world entity that's been converted into usable data. This particular abstraction focuses on gender, male and female, and verbal and math. The keywords gender, male, and female serve to filter the data used to make visualizations. This is the data set I used in order to abstract the information for the visualizations in this product. It's a really simple data structure, but it contained all the necessary information. All of the data is from 2015. The gender key was used to filter through the male and female dictionaries, and male and female keys were used to access verbal and math results in the form of integers. There are a couple limitations with this project. Data sets, for instance, do not include statistics for transgender, non-binary, or genderqueer students, or students with other gender identities. The dataset also did not include the average GPA for both genders per subject, which means I was unable to look at individual subjects such as foreign language or natural science because none of that was given by gender. The dataset also does not include external variables such as family income, quality of education, etc., etc. Question the first. The data from the 1988 Princeton study shows that males scored slightly higher than females in verbal tests and significantly higher in math. So I want to know what the distribution of math and verbal test scores for both genders is when considering the data from 2015. As you can see from these festive histograms, 525 male students scored 150 on math, and 500 male students scored 145 on verbal. Compare that to the 500 females who scored 145 on math and the 500 who scored 140 on verbal, and that means that males scored higher by a minimal 5 points for both subjects within the groupings of the highest scores. Question the second. At the beginning of their study, the members of the Princeton Educational Testing Services hypothesized that gender would be related to trends in both SAT verbal and SAT mathematical average scores. Mathematical is a strange word. Considering the data available from 2015, I want to know if there's a correlation between verbal scores and math scores for either gender. The data from these scatter plots show that a correlation between math and verbal scores has less to do with gender and more to do with the student's ability as test takers. Question the third and final question. By 1985, women's average verbal scores were estimated at 14.4 points below men's, and women's average math scores were estimated at 43.8 points below men's. When considering both subjects together, does one gender score better than the other on average, according to the 2015 data? Both genders' average rose and the gap between them closed by 11.5 points by 2015. However, male test takers still hold a higher average score by 21 points. The final verdict? Female students scored an average of 523.3 points, while male students scored an average of 544.3 points. Now for the juicy stuff. There are a lot of stakeholders that can be tied to this data, but I want to focus on the students because that's where the biggest impact is made, in my opinion. So for this project, my stakeholders are male students, female students, and students who identify outside of the gender binary. The conflict can be seen between students and universities. Of course, universities are looking for students with consistent high SAT scores when they're looking to accept for the new semesters. You can also see conflict between male students and the social construct that males need to be superior learners. Female students also are battling the social construct that perpetuates a boys are better than girls mentality, because if you don't look at how close the data comes and you just say males are better than females at SAT, then you get this unbalanced idea. There are a lot of reasons why those scores are unbalanced. Some people aren't very good test takers. I know this. Some people are better at physical activities. Some people are better at instruments. There are a lot of factors that aren't taken into this specific study. Non-cis students versus social constructs also factors in, because when you don't consider non-cis students within the binary system of the project, it hinders their self-acceptance and the acceptance into society because they're not being normalized into the system. And finally, there's a student versus student rivalry that's caused by the who's better than whom fight, rather than celebrating the individual strengths. Like I mentioned before, everyone's different, everyone excels at something. And when the SATs are given, they fall short in that area of considering all of the factors that you can't put down on paper. I don't have anything to say about this slide, but thank you very much for watching.